The Truck Series, the Cup Series, all head to Kansas Speedway. We give you a betting edge next on the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. Welcome in, whether you're watching live on YouTube, listening to us live on X, maybe catching the podcast on the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. Welcome. We're so pumped to have everybody here this week. This is one of our favorite tracks. I think, we're going to see a large audience tonight because everybody gets excited about not only watching this weekend, but betting it as well. So I'm pumped. I'm pumped to chat with the guys here tonight. And if you don't mind, make sure you reach out. Let us know, if you're watching on YouTube right now, let us know where you're watching from. If you're watching on X, make sure you take a screenshot. Be curious. I saw, Phil and I got tagged in a picture on Sunday, and I think all the guys did, where it was shown on a Sunday morning. They're making breakfast and they got us on the TV, listen to the Wednesday show. So really cool to have so many supporters each and every week. And if you don't mind as well, help our guys over here at In Between Media out. They're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, have a lot of cool giveaways that they're doing. Like we said last week, subscribe. Use the word, put in here subbed in the post or the comments here, and you'll be entered. So let's get them to 1,000. Seth and everybody over there does a lot of work. So I'm fired up for this show, like I said, and let's get into meeting the panel for those that might be new. So I'm going to start with Phil, the Full Tank with Phil podcast. Phil, your podcast dropped this morning. Not only were you talking a little NASCAR, but a little Kentucky Derby as well. I might have a question for you here in a little bit. But how are you feeling going into not only Kansas, but also the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah, feeling good. It was a week of research. Trying to get your bearings with Kansas. Obviously, a lot of information to absorb. We all love that about these mile and a half. So that was good. And then, trying to switch gears and talk about the horses. It was fun. If anybody's interested, we're not trying to zero in on like one particular horse and kind of going all in on that one horse. Just trying to set the table for anyone who might be kind of a novice gambler on horses like I am. I'm a Triple Crown fan, pretty surface level, but I think it's fun to kind of get to know the horse a little bit and kind of know what to expect heading in and figure out ways to bet. So, if you're interested in that, give it a look for sure.
Give it a look. I texted you late last night, nearing probably 10:30, saying this is always one of my favorite shows that I get to listen to. I was consuming it as I was trying to fall asleep, so hopefully all that intel went somewhere positive. Mark, going to throw it over to you. Skybox NASCAR host Lane Coin Pod. We missed you last week. You were out ill, maybe your own detriment, but you were out ill. And obviously, how was Talladega in a nutshell? Because we didn't get to talk to you.
Absolutely my own detriment. Talladega it never ceases to amaze me what goes on at Talladega. Like and when I was in college 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was like you couldn't even write a script crazier than what Talladega was. And then we go viral on Twitter this year, which I didn't think it was possible to get any crazier than it was when I was in college. The place is a zoo. It's my favorite place on earth. I don't care that I coughed up an entire lung. I'm still battling demons from that place. I love it. Had a great time. I'm glad to be back into regular life because it will literally take years off your life. If you go there twice a year, which I'm sure there's a bunch of people out there that go twice a year, please go see a doctor for the love of God. Every time you go. Have this ready to go. Love Kansas. 23-11, 3 of the last 4. I'm sure that's going to be talked about a lot tonight. I am fired up for Kansas. One of my favorite tracks to watch, favorite tracks to bet. I love Kansas. So let's ride.
I love it. Well, I got a good question for you coming up in rapid fire, so we'll get to figure out which way you kind of lean with something I have thrown your way. And I want to throw it over to Ryan, wintherace.info, CEO, creator of True Performance Ranks. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for hosting as usual. This is going to be fun. I'm with Mark. I love Kansas. Phil, I don't know if you knew it, but I live in Saratoga, so we have the Travers every year. But this year the Belmont's coming here too, which is cool. So if you're capping that day too, I'll be reaching out to you for some plays for the Belmont. But yeah, man, I'm pumped for Kansas. It's going to be a fun weekend. We get the trucks back. Truck night in America be cool. I'm gonna be at a wedding, but you know, I'll have my phone on me, so I'm sure I'll get in trouble for that. But it'll be a lot of fun. So can't wait. And I'm really curious to see. The numbers are very tight this week, so I'm really looking
Mhm.
forward to seeing what these guys have. So,
Yep.
it might be one of those weeks where I end up placing a bet live here. They talk me into something.
Well, I like hearing that, and shameless plug to the Truck Series, like you were alluding to. You're at a wedding, but Phil and I are going to be doing our Truck Series podcast. Xfinity's not in the action this week, so Phil and I will have be recording after this. It'll drop later on Thursday, so make sure you check that out because we have a lot of good nuggets. And I think I told Phil earlier I am hooked on one guy in particular, so he's either going to talk me off the ledge or we're going to he's going to help guide me in a similar path. So let's shift a little bit here and let's move to rapid fire. If you're new to rapid fire, it's more of an icebreaker segment. Going to ask these guys some quick hitting questions just to kind of start the show, and then we'll get into everything that you're here to listen to. So, Phil, we're going to start with you, and you probably already know where I'm going. It's going to be a head-to-head this week. And last week you said, oh, it's usually one of the ship boxes. Well, I got one for you this week. Who's going to have a better finish on Sunday? Is it Cindric or Briscoe?
Oh man, dude. Let's go. This is rapid fire, so I'm trying not to think about it too hard. I'm gonna go with Briscoe, but I would want to kind of double back and take a look at some of that stuff. But just my gut, I would go Briscoe just because it seems like they're trying to put some of this success together here, a little bit of momentum. I'm just looking at it right now. 4 of the 6 races he's been at Kansas, he finished top 20. I think a top 20 wins that matchup. So I'll go with Briscoe.
Okay. I always like throwing you those. It somewhat puts your brain in a pretzel a little bit, but then you give us good intel. So that's good. I like that. Now, Mark, I was teasing you a little bit about something, and here's my question for you. One of these tracks has to go: Las Vegas, Charlotte, Darlington, or Kansas. Eliminate one.
Vegas, smell you later.
Yeah,
I mean, what kind of question is that?
Yep, good. Figured you'd say that, so I'm going to eliminate it now. Eliminate one: Charlotte, Darlington, Kansas.
Dude, you can't do that.
I knew because I thought you would say Vegas, but in the event you didn't, I had to leave it. So now that's old question, new question. Is one of these 3 have to go? One of them.
Yeah,
which one goes?
It's easy. I mean, as much as I love Kansas, you're not taking
on.
away 2 of the moguls of this sport. So Kansas, smell you later.
Well, anybody that's new in NASCAR, listening to this show this year, what's really cool is these 3 tracks that we have: Charlotte, Darlington, and Kansas, obviously this weekend, are all coming up in a row. So you are going to see some really good action all month long. I mean, it is the month of May. You got the Indy 500, Coke 600, Wilkesboro All-Star Race. Kevin Harvick's in that. So I know a couple people are fired up about that. And Phil, actually, Ryan, before I get to you, Phil, do you have that diecast that was it your father-in-law?
My son's birthday. It was my sister-in-law's father had it. It was a Rusty Wallace last ride. I'll get it for you. Give me a second.
Get it for me. I'm going to ask Ryan this question then next. So highest finishing Ford will be who, and what is the projected finishing position of that driver?
Man, so I think the most popular answer would be Blaney. Maybe I'll go to what might be the second most popular answer, but I'm going to say Joey Logano.
Okay.
And I think we'll talk about him a little bit more later on.
Okay, so we'll put a pin in that. We'll tease that here for a little bit. Phil, I'm going to throw it over to you. You have your die cast. You have that there for the people watching. Pretty sweet, and just was given to you. I know you sent me a nice late night text of that. That's pretty cool. So for all you Rusty Wallace fans out there, got to give a shout out. 1989. I may or may not have been born that year. So
cool
God,
stuff. You're old.
I am old. I'll be 35 in about 2 weeks, so I am old. Phil, question for you. Truck Series driver that you have your eye on heading into Saturday night.
Oh, man. it's like so chalky. So to say you have your eye on, any of these guys, I mean, let's see.
This is a tease. What we're
It's a
trying to
little
do
bit of a
here is a
tease.
tease.
I like Taylor Gray. this week. In a couple different ways. I have him in a couple different head-to-heads. He's performed so well this season. You're looking back at last year's on mile and a halfs. He's just taking, like, he was solid foundation last year. He's taken a step forward this year. So I would peep some Taylor Gray head-to-heads if you can find them, and maybe even a top 5.
Okay, so Taylor Gray. Yep.
If people are playing underdog too, I know Taylor Gray's over/under on underdog was 8.5. So I like that.
God.
I like that better a ton. So that's what it opened at today. I know underdog changes some odds too. I don't know if it's still there, but if you compare that with something on underdog, I love the better than 8.5 for him.
That's a good call out, Ryan. I appreciate you doing that. Mark, I'm going to throw one over to you. So we know HMS and JGR have dominated this year. When it comes to the end of the season and Phoenix is concluded, how many wins will these two teams combined have in 2024?
Not quite half, but close to it. I mean, it's going to be close to 20. It's not going to quite get there. If you want to throw 23-11 in there, it'll be over 20. I mean, it's just blasphemy. Zach tweeted out today when we talked about this a few weeks ago, and it's still true. They've won every race on non-drafting tracks. So what makes you believe that anything's going to change going forward? I mean, we have 3 speedways in a row. Might as well count it. Now, the reason I said throw 23-11 in there, if you've been living under a rock, I know there's a lot of new people listening, so I'm not trying to make fun of you. But if you have been living under a rock and not watched this great sport of NASCAR, 23-11 is effing unbelievable at Kansas. So we're going to talk about that and the reasons why. So not quite 20, but if you throw 23-11 in there, call it 20 races. Those 2.5 teams win.
Let's throw them in. So Ryan got a better finish for you on Sunday. We're looking at Alex Bowman or Ross Chastain.
Oh, let's see here. I have Ross Chastain ranked higher, so I'm just going to stick with Ross Chastain there.
Okay. I was going to say, what do the projections say, and then what's your gut say? So you're going to still go with Ross. So, okay. He's in the Crocs car this week. So for anybody that enjoys Crocs, I am not one of them. There you go. Phil, I teased it with a Derby play for you. What's your favorite Derby play heading into Saturday? I know not everything's finalized. Like, there's still some horses that could be in the mix, but what's somebody, or what's a horse that you're watching or something that you're keeping your eye on that is your favorite in your opinion?
Yeah, I'll give you 2 quick ones here, quick hitters.
Right.
So I like the number 4 horse called Catching Freedom. This is a horse that, from all accounts, kind of started the Derby season a little immature, kind of fighting a little bit, and then has really progressed and started to step up in the most recent races that they had. So he's kind of hitting his stride at the right time. Kind of reminds me of like 2022, like Ross Chastain, like little immature, but then hitting it at the right time makes it to the championship. So I'm into the 4 to try to hit the board in some way, shape, or form. And then I know a lot of people that listen to NASCAR, some folks might not have like the horse racing apps, but if you do have Bovada, they have it as well. And the one bet I took on Bovada was minus 125 for horses 1 to 10. I love the horses that are in that section. They're better odds. The number 2 horse is Deep Closer. He's one of the second favorites. It's really solid to have him in that camp. The guys 11 to 20 are longer, like 50 to 1s, 30 to 1s. So you're getting a good crop of horses. So if you do have Bovada, you don't feel like going through the rigmarole of getting the horse racing apps. There's a bet for you that I'd like.
I like that. I feel like somebody right now on Sunday is kicking themselves because they bet a horse in that 11 to, what was it, 20 range that you just talked about. So, Mark, I'm going to throw one back to you. Better finish on Sunday, and I feel like I know where you're going to go here. Tyler Reddick or Christopher Bell?
I mean, can I pass? That's the matchup I'm talking about.
Pass.
Is that possible?
Tease. No, yes, it's a tease. That's what we call it in the business. So yes, it gets people to listen a little bit longer. So yeah, you can pass on that. I got one coming up.
I love this matchup. By the way.
That's good. I'm curious to hear where you're going. Ryan, last question for you then. Best driver in the month of May from a finishing position, average finishing position will be who, in your opinion?
So what do we got? We got Charlotte, Darlington, Kansas.
Yep.
What's our other one?
That's it.
Wilkesboro.
Oh, that's
it.
Yeah, don't.
Oh yeah,
don't
so you
count
got the
Wilkesboro.
All-Star race.
race.
So
SVG's not in it, so you can't count that. So go ahead. Let's go with those three.
So best average finish,
Yeah, best average finish.
Denny Hamlin. I mean,
Bingo.
yeah.
I like it. Okay, we'll see what DH can do in the month of A. And then Mark, you were out last week, so I'm going to give you the final word here. Monday morning headline will read what?
23-11 wins 4 of 5.
I feel like.
How did you know that was coming?
I feel like I knew that was coming. Great tease for whatever's coming up here in the show. And let's get into the Rider Fade. This is our head-to-head matchup section. This is where we listen to what the guys have to say, what they've found to be their favorite head-to-head on the board right now. And then we go around the panel and see what these guys think. Are they going to ride that or are they going to fade that? So, Phil, you are the leadoff man in this segment. Take it away.
Well, I thought the head-to-head market this week was really difficult. With DraftKings not really giving us too much. I know Caesars does their best, but I did think it was tougher this week. I found myself on the podcast talking about some more team bets. But for tonight, the one bet that I did have that was driver versus driver, you already kind of talked about it. I'm not going to steal yours, Mark. We're going to go with Chastain over Bowman. And the reason I wanted to bring it up again and kind of dig back into it was just to say, I saw Brian in the chat and Ryan both said they like Chastain over Bowman, but I went into that matchup trying to take Bowman. Like I saw like he was pretty solid here at Kansas, and I was like, damn, he's got some good momentum with Dover last week, and I'm liking what his numbers are looking like. So when I tried to make the case for it, writing my notes out, I couldn't do it. Chastain had him beat in pretty much every category, with the exception of maybe the deep history at Kansas. But more recent history at Kansas, like next gen, Bowman's good. Chastain's better, green flag speed on mile and a half this year, mile and a half since 2023. Like it's been Chastain. So yeah, I'm going with Chastain. I'm a little disappointed with what Chastain brought to the table at Dover. I think I was someone who was expecting a lot better from him. So I was a little let down there. I hope that doesn't continue. So we'll see if we can shake that off. But I wanted just to kind of put an exclamation point on the Chastain over Bowman thing, because like I said, I originally wanted Bowman and I couldn't get there. So Chastain was who I went with. Okay, so Chastain is the side over Bowman there. Mark, I'm going to give you the first rip at it. You riding that or you fading that?
I'm riding it. I am riding the shit out of it, and I am all over Ross Chastain in a particular market that we will be talking about. So I do have a bet on Ross Chastain. I'm not crazy about fading Bowman just because of the question that you asked me, Derek, about Hendrick Motorsports. Bowman's had some decent runs, like not race winning runs, but absolutely top 5, very good car runs. I'm definitely riding with young Phil, but I'm all over Ross Chastain, put it that way. Just not crazy about the idea of fading Bowman. Yeah, absolutely riding.
That makes sense. How about you, Ryan?
Where was that matchup? I just looked for it. I couldn't find it.
Let me pull this up.
The paper notes. What a goat.
Yeah. Here's the deal. Let me say this about Phil, because you guys haven't seen him in person when he has his note. It's like a little black book.
That was on Caesars.
When he watches the race over here, he just sits there right next to it, and it's like watching just an OG just like break down whatever he's on. I respect it. I still do it. I still write everything down. So go ahead. Where was that matchup at?
It's on Caesars. It was -130 when I took it. Now it's -145. So clearly a lot of folks are thinking the same thing. But I would still take it at -145. I'm not scared of the juice anymore like I used to be.
DK. I think I would totally ride with this. Like totally. That's where 145 might be a little tough, but like Bowman's had good runs, but that was at Bristol and Dover. It wasn't at Vegas or Kansas, which I would much more compare to what we're at this week. So he's been pretty trash on 1.5s recently. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Bowman at all. Where Chastain, this is like it's kind of been his bread and butter. And what we expect him to show up on. So yeah, I'd ride with that.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go with the Bowman side, believe it or not. So I'm gonna fade that respectfully. It's gonna be pretty close. I don't know if I could bet it because it's gonna be so close, but Bowman has been he's been really good. I mean, kind of picking up from where he was last year before he got his back injury. Yes, he was leading the points before that happened last year, but you look at the runs, not making mistakes. Most times he disappears, hasn't been disappearing, just kind of very consistent, solid. Like a sixth place day is a really good day for them, but they've been getting in that top 10 space. I was trying to pop up just some of his statistics here, but I think my gut, and I really do listen to my gut a whole lot. So my gut tells me the Bowman side there, but that's a very good conversation for sure. So Mark, what about a head-to-head on your side? And maybe we have another panelist here that likes it just as much. So where are we going from a head-to-head standpoint?
Before I get into that, I am astonished at the amount of people that write their notes. You guys are absolutely absurd. Oh
This
my
is what Phil
God,
does.
dude.
That's every week,
you're
baby.
wa-
It's usually front and back.
I
Dude,
mean, you're
watching
going
what is
to
that?
tunnel, dude. I mean,
If you're watching on YouTube or X,
Jesus.
this is what the man does. You guys, the other thing for Phil, it's like whenever we do the truck pod, he's got like a oh shoot, who's the coach for Kansas City? Hit me real quick.
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid.
Yeah.
He's got like an Andy Reid, Waffle House type menu. It's crazy. So, anyways,
You guys.
Phil, do you save those? Do you have like a closet?
I have in my drawer.
Don't tell me you put them in manila folders.
Wait,
Oh,
drawer.
you want to bet?
oh no,
You don't scan them into the computer?
Is it a
Phil
filing?
the hoarder.
Is it a filing cabinet?
This is the last 2 years.
Phil, is that Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup?
I throw the trucks ones out. But that's
oh my
podcast for the last 2 years.
I got to give it to you. That's pretty darn.
I need to be able to go back and look and see like who I took, in certain.
It's called
certain races.
It's called Sheets. It's called Google Docs. It's called Files. It's called click. I found it.
Called being 30s.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. Well, you guys are. You guys.
I love how you see right through me and you went right to the manila folder, dude. I feel so.
That's pretty good, dude. That's pretty good.
All right. I am betting Tyler Reddick minus 130 over Christopher Bell, still available at DraftKings, and I'm looking at 9 comp races. That's a lot of data, and that's part of the reason why I love betting Kansas. Charlotte, Texas, Vegas. There's so many races and so much data that we can base our bets off of. So, all 4 Kansas races. Coke 600 last year. Michigan, that's a Zach special this week. Usually he's got one little quirky one in there. Michigan this week. The last 2 Vegas races. So Vegas 1 of this year, Vegas 2 of last year, and Texas from a few weeks ago. But for this matchup, I'm only looking at 7 of the 9. So throw the first 2 Kansas races into the wind, into the trash can. Just throw it away. Tyler Reddick was in the 8 car. Doesn't matter. This is 23. There you go. Fuck the paper notes. 23-11, this is their racetrack. Okay. The 45 car has literally won 3 of the last 4, which is absurd. Okay. Now, Kurt Busch, Bubba filling in, Tyler Reddick. It's kind of fun when you look at it that way. It's still pretty wild. The 45 car has won 3 of the last 4. Tyler Reddick also had a DNF and finished 30th, a bunch of laps down when he was running for the 8. So those races weren't going to matter anyways. Throw them out. So, including the 2 races, he's 3rd in the power rankings. So I don't know if you throw the other 2 races out, I don't know what he would be. Probably 2nd at least. Bell is 6th. But let's look at the 7 races. Average running position 7.7. That's good for 2nd in the Cup Series. It's Tyler Reddick. Average finish of 8.4. That's good for 3rd best in the Cup Series. Bell in the same 7 race span. So throw out the first 2 Kansas races. Average finish of 19th. And that's good for 17th best in the Cup Series. Not good. He's got some DNFs in there. So it's tough to, pin that to the donkey. Zach said he doesn't even look at finishes. I do. I think it's important. I think it matters. But his average running position is 14.3, which is still dog doo-doo. Tyler Reddick is half of that. And Christopher Bell's average running position is good for 11th best in the Cup Series. NLD speed, Reddick 5th, Bell 11th. And because my peon brain can't figure out how to use Excel like Zach can, that includes the first 2 Kansas races. So it just blows that out of the water. Little stat to round it out. In those 7 races, comp races, Reddick has finished in the top 10 in 6 of them. Bell only twice. So, yes, I'm finding whatever stats that I want to base my bet off of. That's right. You can go find whatever you want and twist it to make it look good. But I think it matters that Tyler Reddick used the races that he's been in this car. And he blows Bell out of the water. This minus 130, I think it's minus 130 because of those first two races. He's got 2 30th or worse place finishes in 2 of the last 4 Kansas races. So just throw him out. Don't even worry about it. You look at everything else. This is not even close. Christopher Bell has struggled here and there this year. Got caught up in some stuff, had some bad luck, yada, yada. Typical Christopher Bell BS. But once again, this is 23XI's racetrack. 3 of the last 4, 45 car, all in over Christopher Bell. Give me Tyler Reddick.
Okay, so going Reddick this weekend, just kind of, again, going with your 23XI love.
One more thing.
Please.
This line I don't think is going to stay where it's at because Reddick has also started in the top 5 in all 4 Kansas races, the last 4.
So there you go. If you're going to bet it, Mark's saying bet it now. Because the qualifying aspect of it. Ryan, what about you? You riding that? You fading that? Where are we at?
Oh yeah, we had the same one here. We didn't talk at all today about it, but we're on the same exact page here. I got it first thing in the morning at minus 126 on FanDuel. I'd take it minus 130 wherever anyone can get it right now. It's still an awesome bet. Our sims have it fair at minus 160. When I took this, little different data set for me, but around the same rankings. Like they did, you guys have the power rankings. My pre-practice and qualifying rankings, Reddick 3rd, just like you guys, and then Bell I had 1 spot lower in 6th. So very similar. If you do look at I'll look at Greg's front runners here, and he takes every Gen 7 race. So it would include the 2 Reddick races, the first Kansas races, whatever. But be all of Vegas, all of Kansas, all of Charlotte. The only person with a higher fast lap percentage of all the laps those cars have ran than Reddick is Kyle Larson. So I mean, like these are the 2 like alpha dogs on this track type, and of course Hamlin's going to be there and have something to say about it. But I really just feel this week is like a Larson Reddick Vegas type feel to it. So yeah, for every reason Mark said, plus every reason we have on Win the Race, which is every single thing we have would point to Reddick over Christopher Bell. So yeah, give me Reddick.
Okay.
And the qualifying thing is correct. I think he just qualified 4th at Texas too. So he's just on a little, he qualifies well. So yeah, it'll probably be gone. All his numbers will probably be wiped out. So I like Reddick a lot.
Which is why I said last week when Chris and Todd were doing their pre-race poll, his championship numbers, if you can get 12, 14, I mean, he opened the year at 16. So if you can still get something like that, really well worth a snag, I think, because I think he, like what you're saying, Mark, and what you're saying, Ryan, I think that team and that driver specifically, I mean, who would have thought that they would win at Talladega? We thought like one of the road courses or maybe a mile and a half. I think they're just going to keep ascending upward. Phil, what about you? You riding here? Is this a clean sweep?
Clean sweep. 100%. I think we're expediting the show here because I was planning on talking about him later in another market. So yeah, dude, Reddick is for all. I mean, I thought Mark did a great job laying out all the statistics, and I can't really add too much to it. I just made sure I was in on that bet already. So
it's good.
One thing kind of going along with what we were saying about qualifying too is I think the books have been way more in tune with practice as well. And Reddick's one of those guys that goes out there on these tracks and runs like 25 consecutive laps and is always near the top. So that will kind of wipe out his numbers too. So even if he doesn't qualify great, I still think the numbers are going to get wiped out because they'll know, if he practices that fast like he has been, they'll still think he's going to be at the top at the end. So yeah, I don't mind betting Reddick early.
No, I think that's a good point as well. And just kind of scanning through just to see where they're at. Looks like they are both going to be in the group. Bell is in Group B, and so is Reddick. So they'll both be in the same group. So, also something as well. You guys talked about qualifying a little bit. I know Caesars posts some qualifying odds. There's a couple books that do it as well. So, if you can get Reddick versus somebody, I'd be curious who they would match him up if they do. But you guys kind of pointed out, been qualifying top 4, around that 4th position. So really cool there. Ryan, I'm going to give you the floor, or actually you kind of touched on maybe what your favorite head-to-head was. Am I correct?
Yeah, that was my head-to-head. So that was the one I had.
That's good. So All right, well then let's do this because that just kind of takes that there. So let's move into the position props. And for anybody listening on YouTube or X, I'd be curious, what do you think about Tyler Reddick? We've been talking about him a little bit here at length tonight. Be curious if you're on him in any way, shape, or form, or if you're against him, any of the guys. Maybe you're on the Bell side. Maybe you're on somebody else. Let us know. Be curious. We'll get your comment question up here just to kind of get some additional, interesting perspectives, I should say. Let's go to the position prop market, and I want to kind of highlight a sponsor of the show here, Custom Patch Hats. I'm repping their hat here tonight. Really cool stuff that they're doing, not only with us, but with Front Stretch as well. So really cool partnership that we're going to be launching at the All-Star break and then through the rest of the year. So make sure you go check out Custom Patch Hats. I'll put their stuff here at the bottom as Mark discusses what his favorite position prop is.
Well, funny you ask. And Ryan made a little comment earlier about this guy, and I fired off a tweet last night saying, "Where the F are my finishing prop bets?" I said, "Where are my odds?" So I should have clarified, where are my top tens? This is my favorite market. I don't have my record in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
It's spectacular. There's a lot of other markets that I really suck at. Top tens are not one of them. I fucking love top tens. And we're going, when I put my notes together last night, it was, there were no top 10 odds. So I went to Caesars and I started scrolling because they got everything you could possibly imagine. And they have a Ryan Blaney under 10.5 or finishing position under 10.5. I took the minus 125. Now, top 10 odds come out today. I bet Ryan Blaney top 10 at minus 115. Now, Ryan's comment was, "Oh, the obvious answer is Ryan Blaney to finish the best Ford." And I'm thinking to myself, yes, and it's not close. But then, anyway, the Fords have been struggling. I don't know where I was going with that. Don't listen to me. I do listen to me, but not about that. The Fords have been struggling, absolutely. But Ryan Blaney, even with that being true, is still pretty freaking good. Absolutely worthy of a minus 115 for a top 10er. I'd take the minus 125 on Caesars. I don't know what it's at now because I stopped caring about it because I got minus 115 on Hard Rock. He's had literally one bad race out of the 9 comps that I'm looking at, and that was a DNF where he wrecked himself at Texas. He might have got a little arrow loose, whatever, but he DNF'd at Texas a few weeks ago, so the finish not going to be there. Now, was he worthy of a top 10 bet that day? At minus 115, absolutely. He was like maybe a 12th, 15th place car before he wrecked himself. But this week, don't even think about it. Bet Ryan Blaney, top 10, minus 115. He's 4th in the power rankings. Fords aren't going to be fast this week. Fords are struggling on speedways. Yes, they have. Ryan Blaney, one bad race. One singular bad race. It was at Texas. Over the 9 comps, he's 2nd in average running position with 8.1, which is ridiculous. He's 3rd in average finish with 9.2, which is also ridiculous. He's 3rd in NLD speed. He's had top 10s in 4 of the last 5 comp races. Texas DNF, one of them that wasn't a top 10. Dominating win at the Coke 600 last year. And if you take out that DNF that I keep just blabbling over, in the other 8 comp races, his worst average running position in a particular race was 10.6.
Mm-hmm.
That's absurd. Like, I understand this year the Fords haven't been good. He was good at Vegas. He was so at Texas, but we're not using Texas this week. Oh, we are using Texas this week. Fuck. He was so, but that's one bad race. Okay. You take 8 of the 9 races. Ryan Blaney should be in the top 5 to 6 favorites. Well, he's not. He's mid-teens. So that opens up the top 10 market, minus 115. Go bet it. Absolutely.
Okay, you're saying go bet that. I want to touch on 2 questions for you, Mark, since you were bringing up here Blaney and the Ford. So we have Alfred here who says he took the bait with Blaney top Ford at plus 185. You like that play there? You like that number?
I saw it at 2-1. Yeah, absolutely. But if I was going to bet that market, I'd probably take Gragson or like Barry or one of the Stewart Haas cars for the get a little more juice in there. Definitely not betting Logano. That dude stinks. But yeah, you either bet Blaney at 185, 2-1, 210, whatever you can get him at, or you bet one of the Stewart Haas cars, and I think that would either be Gragson or Briscoe.
Somewhere in the Canadian hills, Worm is yelling, Gragson, Gragson. Say Gragson, you idiot. So what about Big Ross's question here? Who's the second best Ford in your opinion with the 12 right behind him? Anybody?
No, mine are the same answers. It's Gragson or Briscoe for sure.
Okay. So you're saying those guys. Ryan, I'm going to throw it over to you. Where have you found a betting opportunity here this weekend from the prop market?
Dude, this is perfect timing because I'm gonna bet on the guy who fucking stinks, Joey Logano plus 135 top
Love
10.
it. Yes.
So I was, I was between this and actually the Blaney one, which is funny. So when he started talking, I was like, "Oh shit, we're gonna have the same thing again." But like, no, it actually went the complete opposite way. But I think this is a number based thing. Like I got plus 135 top 10. I mean, he'd only have to hit this 43% of the time. He top 10 both races here last year, and Logano wasn't great last year either. It's not like, not great this year, wasn't great last year. He did have a top 10 at Vegas earlier this year. I do like to look at that. He almost top 10 at Texas, but Texas was so like we know who the best cars were at Texas, but Texas finishing order as a whole, I mean, that race was a little freaking wild. But lifetime, in his 25, he's finished 25 races at Kansas and he has top 10s in 12 of them. So that's good for 48% of the time. So already we're better than the 43% that the plus 135 would imply. If you look at like 23 and 24, Vegas, Kansas, Charlotte, he's 10th in true average running position. He's 9th in average finish. So both right there, I mean, at plus 135, I'm okay with that. And to me, he's one of these guys that's like, he does find a better finish than he might necessarily warrant. And one thing too, when I'm kind of fringy like this, try to look like a little outside the box at what might help. And his pit crew's been really strong this year. So, perhaps he can gain beyond like the normal good strategy he can employ sometimes to get a better finish than he should get. His pit crew should help him too. So if it does come down to a late pit or something like that, maybe he can gain a couple spots and just sneak into that top 10. So plus 135 for everything I said. Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, plus 135 there for Logano. So maybe Big Ross, maybe Logano is that second guy. You were looking for that number two from here, what Ryan's saying that he likes the most. Ryan, one question for you, and Charles is asking, Gragson top 10 plus 215. Is that a fair number with your models and everything that you have?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he has a couple top 10s that to me are extremely lucky. That like in true performance ranks, he ranked outside the top 10 in both those. So I don't know. I think we're gonna see less lucky finishes here. I know I said like with Logano, he can use some strategy and get up there, but I also don't think Logano. I think Logano overall should be stronger than Gragson here. I think Penske should be stronger. We'll see. I think we're going to learn a lot this week because really we've only had Vegas and then Texas was so weird. So we'll learn a lot about Stuart Haas, especially because guys like Briscoe were a total joke last year, and now this year they're like running 14th, 15th consistently in the intermediate package. So it's kind of flip flopped around. But I still would just I don't know. That's a little thin for me. Plus 210. I would want to see like 3 or 4 to 1 at least.
Yeah, there's a 3 on Hard Rock. 3 to 1.
Okay. So if you can get 3, I was looking to see if maybe he was the top Ford at Vegas. Blaney, in fact, was the top Ford there, finishing third. But we know how the rocket ship that Gragson had from coming all the way from the back. So, yeah, if you can find
it. Oh, sorry. I was gonna, Sims have it fair at 490.
Okay, 490. So
you don't love it.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go, Charles. Hopefully that helps, and I think is a good point to anybody. Maybe you're watching this, or I'm sorry, listening this to on the podcast. It's really good to kind of see what the chat's saying. And Phil, you pointed out perfectly. You said this chat right now is cooking right now with everything that we have going on. And Chris, I want to give you a shout out. Chris Perry here. He said Reddick is actually matched up minus 125 to Bell's minus 105 in a qualifying matchup on Caesars. Will that last through the show? Probably not, after everything that these guys have been talking about. And we just said, hey, if they're in a group matchup or a matchup together in qualifying, we know which side we like a lot more. So be curious to see where that kind of nets out. Phil, I'm going to throw it over to you. Where you landed from a prop standpoint?
Well, I was going to go a different direction. So maybe I'll I'll put a pin in that. Maybe we'll come back to that bet later. But you guys got me thinking with these Fords, and I agree with both of you guys so far. I think Blaney is the top Ford. I was looking at Logano as well for a top 10, Ryan, for a lot of the things that you said. I mean, he's 40-1. I don't think he's going to win, but like, when was the last time we saw that number? So I'll stick with the Ford camp. And
Please.
bringing this up simply just to kind of get some feedback here. Brad Keselowski, top 10 is plus 175. Hear me out. At Kansas, the last 10, he's 50% hit rate for a top 10. Okay. But, I know that doesn't necessarily, going back all that time, doesn't necessarily wet everybody's whistle. So looking at the mile and a halves since the start of the 2023 season, Brad Keselowski is third in average finish.
Mhm.
And if you just go back 5 races, he's got 4 top 10s in the last 5 mile and a half races, including the second place finish at Texas. His worst finish in those 5 races is 12th. So even that's like putting you in the ball game. So plus 175 on Caesars for a top 10 for Keselowski. It seems like he's kind of being slept on a little bit. I feel like that's pretty good number. I mean, I don't know what's fair. I know, Ryan, you have a model that kind of tells us that, like, plus 175, it's a bit of a shock to me because he's been doing it. And looking at the speed that he's had, like green flag speed or total speed on the 2 mile and a half this year, he's 20th in both races, but he's just been getting more out of the car. And I don't know if that's more of a strategy situation or whatever, but he's finishing better than he was running on the 2 mile and a half this year. So that is intriguing to me as well. So Keselowski, we were talking Fords. I wanted to throw him into the mix. I didn't take that yet, but was kind of looking at that as you guys were talking and somebody asked like who the next best Ford is. He came to mind, and looking at those numbers, I mean, he's right behind Reddick and Larson as far as average finish in these mile and a half last year plus. So what do you guys think about that?
I find it interesting too. Of all manufacturers we're talking about, we're peppering Ford here now over the last 20 minutes.
You got to find the soft spot.
I know the one manufacturer that's going to struggle running 6th. So any of you guys, Marker?
I got a little some.
Go ahead.
So Sims have that closer. I'll just say that, like, that's closer than my Logano one as far as the Sims are concerned. So we have it like 190. So you're right there.
I think the reason why is the track history. So, for example, Brad Keselowski's NLD speed at the Fort Kansas race is 15th. If you look at the other comps, the other 5, he's 8th or tied for 8th. So, I mean, he's like Phil said, he's got top 10s. And, well, I'm looking at a little bit of different data set, but I'm looking at 3 of the last 4, 4 of the last 6 top 10s, 3 of the last 4 in the top 5 as well. So, I'm usually on the Brad top 10 bet, but it just wasn't enough for me. Now, the data set that you're looking at, Phil, worst finish of 12th, that's definitely that's more than in the ballpark. That is a bettable last place finish.
12th within the last 5 races on mile and a half. So that's that. Yeah.
And you're in there like swimwear. Yeah.
That was at Vegas this year.
It's just, I have so many top 10 bets. It's unbelievable. So I got to pass,
15
brother.
top 10 bets.
He's got a parlay. He's got a parlay of 10 drivers trying to fit in the top 10. It's interesting, Phil. I think we're going to call it Phil's Army because, we had Charles who was mentioning anything about RFK. Big Ross came in talking about RFK as well. So Phil's Army coming together at the right time when you were bringing up Brad.
Well, let me. I'll just put an exclamation point on it. RFK is going head to head against RCR, and that's where I played them when I was looking to play Brad on the podcast. I played RFK head to head against RCR because I don't think we're gonna see RCR come to play like they did last week at Dover with Kyle Busch. I think it's a different scenario, different conversation. They haven't been good and on these mile and a half, so I'm liking what we're getting there with the team bet with Buescher.
Well,
Kind of a wild card.
All the win the race guys took. I can't take him in New York, but they took Rick Ware over Colleague.
Oh, I took Colleague. They were plus 100.
What did it was our picture confirmation that Herbst is being prepped by Stuart Haas. So that's what
I saw
over there.
Cody Zeeb chirped me on Twitter this morning. He said, "I can't believe you're fading Riley Herbst."
That guy is something else, man. I'll tell you what.
And I didn't know if he was trolling me or not, but I mean, looking into it, I don't think he was. It was a serious thing. Look, I was on the other side of that. I know we're deviating here, Derek, but
No, this is perfect.
Well, to be fair too, they had a good number on it. I think it was like it was either plus 105 or plus 115. I think it got smoked all the way down to like minus 135, so I probably wouldn't bet it there, but that's it.
and that's when I took Colleague at plus 100. Because in my mind, it's simply Justin Haley versus Daniel Hemrick, and Hemrick's 2 for 2 for top 20s this year. He's 2 for 2 against Haley head to head on the mile and a halves. Look, dude, we've played this shitbox bet multiple times this year, and look at Hemrick last week, dude. Like
we've been through this before.
I know we have, dude, but I lost last time I faded Colleague, so I'm rocking with Hemrick this week, dude. I'm rocking with him.
I'll say shit.
But it's funny that we both got plus money on it, though. That's
I always wonder how much the Stewart-Haas prep will help, but I guess only time will tell. I do think Herbst is really talented too. It'd be cool to see him.
100%.
Yeah, I hope they hooked him up.
So, okay. So then I like it. See, I was hoping that at some point we were going to be talking about that matchup. I figured it was going to come up because we talked about it at length, like you were saying, guys, last time. So really interesting stuff there. That'll conclude then the prop market. And, we got 15 minutes here till the end of the show. So let's go outrights. And Ryan, let's start with you. Favorite outright that you found on the board right now?
Well, I'll keep it quick because Caesars had a boost. You can't put what some would maybe want to put on a winning bet there, but he was plus 650 for the boost. So I don't know. Take that. It's everything we said about Reddick earlier. Plus, the fact that we think that number could probably get down to 4-1 or something if he's got fast consecutive laps in practice and qualifies well. Then the number's probably gone. But I totally agree. If I had the spotlight like Mark did, where what's the news going to read Monday morning, I'm totally on board with the Reddick gets it done at Kansas again. But but I think that he can lead over 100 laps and get it done. So we'll see. Obviously, we don't know that till we see practice and qualifying. But I mean, this guy probably 3 more laps at Vegas. He beats Larson, and then I think easily had the best car at Texas until his pit crew fucked him over. So, those are the 2 races we've seen this season in the new Toyota body in this intermediate package that I would compare to this Kansas race, and he was lights out. So I'll take that now as opposed to 450 on either Larson or Hamlin, which would be the only other 2 I would consider at this moment.
Okay. All right. So I like that. And one thing that I was just thinking about, as you said, sometimes the books get it wrong. Sometimes you can find a winning team at a higher price or better value than what you're sometimes getting, a guy like Reddick or even Bubba. Chris Perry brought up an interesting question here. Weather concerns this weekend. Mark, question for you. Is Kansas Speedway in Kansas or in Missouri? Don't look at your phone.
No, I'm looking at the freaking weather in Kansas City, Missouri this weekend. It's going to rain. Hold on. I didn't know that.
Kansas.
I don't give a flying you-know-what, but I'm in Kansas City a month ago at a wedding. And of course, I'm like, I'll just place my bets when I get there. No, I'm staying in Missouri. It's illegal in Kansas. What's going on here? I'm like dumbfounded. I got to take an Uber to go place my bets. Golly. Anyway, it's supposed to rain this weekend. Chris, why you got to do that, dog?
Chris, not great. Maybe bringing the vibes down a little bit, but I have it popped up here. You got Saturday. Here, I'll be a meteorologist for a second. I'll enter my inner.
Wait, can we watch this advertisement real quick?
Yeah, we can. No free ads, but it's Pine Sol. A couple of morning thunderstorm showers here on Saturday. Chance of rain 77%. So it could impact even the truck race, depending how late that gets filled, and lightning, obviously. Then Sunday, watch for a strong morning.
I might go hit that Reddick bet somewhere else than the one over Bell, because I have that on FanDuel right now. And if this gets delayed over 24 hours or whatever, they void it.
Oh, no. It's on DraftKings.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go hit that right this second. Worst case scenario, double down on it. Really don't care. I love the bet anyway.
Okay. So that's good. So Chris, you asked a good question there, that because I wasn't aware of weather concerns. I mean, Dover, how about that? I mean, Phil, I know that's been in our backyard here, but beautiful weather on Sunday, packed house. If anybody has the opportunity to go, please, I highly recommend it. It is a great venue. I've been hoping and praying that they get lights, because I think that'll be a top 10 race, top 5 race probably within the calendar schedule if they ever get lights there. But we went with Ryan. Phil, I'm going to throw it over to you outright wise. What do you got for us?
I'll keep it relatively quick. So Reddick, 6-1. He's not going to be going off at 6-1 on race day with the way he qualifies, as these guys have pointed out earlier. I've been doing the game where I've been trying to pick a manufacturer and then build my outright card around that. I went with Chevy this week because of the number, plus 140. You get Larson in that. He's plus 380, plus 140 for Larson and the rest of the crew. Why the fuck not? So then the conversation becomes who's going to beat me, and 6-1 for arguably the best car in the field, Reddick. So for all the reasons that have been said so far, that's how I arrived at Reddick this week.
Okay, so Reddick then there. Mark, I'm going to throw it over to you. I know you don't listen to other people's podcasts, but we did end the show last week at 54 minutes, and there was, you weren't here, so I don't know if that correlates at all. I'm going to give you the final word here from the outright perspective. That's
cold as ice. I don't really have anything to add, folks. It's 23-11 or bust. I'm like trying to convince myself over here to bet the 5-1 23-11. I'm trying to sales pitch myself. I spent 4.5 years in sales. I'm not doing a very good job. I have my notes on Bubba Wallace 16-1. I know that number's not available anymore, but it was available yesterday afternoon. There's all this Reddick talk's like got me feeling frisky about it. So I guess final answer is going to be just bet the 23-11 5-1 and pick up Bubba. Obviously 16-1 is juicy. Actually, you know what? Bet both of them. Is it a double winner? Absolutely. Fuck it. Bet both.
Maybe they tie. Let me ask you this, and I think you guys would be a good panel here to discuss this with. Obviously, we like Tyler Reddick. We feel like they're gonna really perform well. What happens? What would cause them not to do well this week? Like, what's that scenario look like where, hey, we were maybe wrong on Wednesday? Go ahead, Mark.
The scenario is Denny Hamlin takes all the information that 23-11 has had the last 4 years and said, that's my information, and puts it in a JGR. And then now 23-11 is now 5th, 6th, 7th place cars, and JGR is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay,
so that's the scenario.
Chevy continues their mile-and-a-half dominance.
Not in Kansas, though.
You're right.
Larson.
Kansas was the last time they lost. So
we've had a lot of dumb fucking late yellow flags lately too. Like fucking
welcome to the
Hemrick.
show,
Hemrick
brother.
being optimal in DFS last week is a fucking joke.
By the way, I'm retired from DFS. I tried it twice. Not a fan.
Yeah, well, the one time you tried it, you went ham.
It was fun. I got my screenshot winning $100,000. That was cool.
I thought Mark won 20 grand, and the other day I'm talking to him and I'm like, dude, like, congratulations. I forgot to reach out. And he was like, I didn't win that, actually.
No, that was with 15 to go. Thank you.
So I felt bad. At that point. Okay. So, Ryan, you have a best bet or anything like that? I mean, we talking, Reddick off the rails.
Yeah,
here,
it might as well. I'll just stay with it. Reddick over Bell, because now I've bet it twice. So let's just go. I got no choice. I'm in.
Okay, Reddick over Bell, qualifying, loving that. What about you, Phil? Best bet, best value. Where are we at? Anything with Ford?
I'll be really quick. Yeah, it actually is Ford.
See,
I was going to go. I took Suarez plus 100 under 18.5 on Caesars. That is now 16.5 at like minus 120. I can't call that out tonight. I didn't do the research on that number, but what is still there?
The top value in the Sim Center is of any bet you can make this weekend is the over 16.5 on Suarez.
Oh shit! Well, Suarez's numbers are really good under 18.5. I can tell you that for free.
He just said
it's a fine line with those.
He's been good, but let's switch gears. We're gonna go over Michael McDowell 21.5. Okay, he's been dog shit on these mile and a halves, and we had a similar conversation a couple weeks ago at Texas, and we took him under if I remember correctly, in that hit because he was good at that track. This is not the case. He's 6 for 8 in the last 8 races, finishing outside the top 21. So McDowell over. Don't get fooled by his history at Kansas at 5 for 10 outside the top 20. You'd say to yourself, well, it's only 50%. His average finish is 24.6. Don't get fooled. McDowell, he's just not on it right now. They need to figure it out. They're waiting for road track season to come around. So I'm taking over 21.5. And then real quick before you toss it to me, just throwing this out there. The last 3 spring Kansas races, one of the stage winners has won the race. Stage 1 winner has won twice, and you have that bet on Caesars, stage 1 or 2 winner to win the race, plus 300 for stage 1 winner. It's happened 2 of the last 3 spring races, so just putting that out there as well.
Okay, I like it. So forget
trends.
Yeah, trends. I do like that. And for any simpletons out there that don't know where to find those over-under numbers, especially on Caesars, where do you look?
Yeah, you go to Caesars, you pull up the race itself. Once you're looking at the race, you click on the name of the race. Like after you're seeing like the odds for the race, click on the name, and then it brings up I like the NASCAR gambling podcast guys call it the speakeasy. So it's like the extra UI section where you can find those. Sometimes they have it on the full board now. So, but that's how you get there.
In New York, you click on it and it just gives you 2 fucking. There you go.
The Denny Hamlin special.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. That's good. Okay. Ryan or Mark, I forget where we're.
I'm ready to rock. I'll be quick. 8:54, yep. 2 minutes past. Ross Chastain, top 10, minus 115. 5th in average running position on the 9 comps. 8th in the power rankings. 5th in NLD speed. And 4th in average finish. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. It's minus 115, just like Ryan Blaney. I now have 3 top 10 bets. I'm a little scared. I can't add Brad. I love Brad. I can't add him. Definitely not adding Logano. Ryan, I respect it. But Blaney, Chastain, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, bet those guys. You'll come out a winner.
Okay, I like it. And Ryan, I think you touched on it, right? We kind of went a little jumbled up there. I think you touched on a best bet, correct? Or you said you're sticking with
Bell. I mean, Reddick, fuck.
When all else fails, Tyler Reddick.
Come on now, Mark. Okay. Well, good. Well, I think, like you said, we had 4 DK matchups. So we were talking about a whole bunch of different things tonight. Assuming they can give us some more stuff, we'll get some stuff or additional things out there. But I'm going to let you guys close down the show here. I think that'll take us right to the top of the hour. So, Phil, I'm going to let you go first. You had a lot to say, not only on the podcast with NASCAR, but the Derby as well. So go ahead and pump your stuff.
Yeah, give us a look. Full Tank with Phil's name of the podcast. It's a double episode this week for anyone who's interested in the Kentucky Derby. Should be a really fun one. 2 favorites are complete opposite style horses. One's a leader, the other one's a deep closer. So, and then you got the other 18 horses in the mix to see what else is going on. So we try to break down the field. Let me know what you think. I'm ready to jump on any slips that people have. So, and if you think it's good episode, let me know, because it keeps me wanting to do it for the Preakness in Belmont as well. So appreciate any feedback there, and good luck to everyone this week at Kansas. I know a lot of us are looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun for sure. I like how Stone came in here at the very last minute saying Gragson top 10 is free money. I mean, that will be interesting. Stone, we're going to come back to that next week for sure. What about you there, Mr. Jordan? What do you got for us, Mark?
I don't know what to tell you, folks. No, we're recording Laying Coin for the first time in what feels like a month, so that'll be dropping.
What time did you wake up this morning?
3 o'clock. 0300. I'm ready to go. It's going to be a very delirious Laying Coin tonight, so I might tell Roy to STF you a couple too many times. But if any of you people out there live in Salt Lake City, I'm hopping on a flight tomorrow, so the pod will be out whenever. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe at the airport, maybe when I get there. I don't know.
Well, I know one thing that's coming from a social media aspect is you're going to take a picture of your boots, your brown boots, in the airport with the computer. I already can see it coming.
Utah, I am in you.
Yeah, and then
That's how
there's
it's gonna
always
go.
that one too. So, and I like it, Stone, first time viewer. So welcome. Thanks for watching us here tonight, and yeah, make sure you subscribe to the IBT channel here, and use the word subbed here in the chat somewhere. You'll be entered for a really cool giveaway at some point with everything that Seth has going on, who owns IBT. Ryan, final word, final thought.
Yeah, just wintherace.info. That's where everything will be. Yeah, I'm pumped. We're going to a fun wedding Saturday night and get to check on the truck race while that's going down, having some drinks. It'll be
What about that is
be a-
fun, dude?
dude, it'll be a good time. It'll be
Just kidding.
it's at this pretty sweet place here.
I'm just
Trucks and
joshing you.
shots. No better
But
Saturday.
and then maybe get to sleep in, Sunday without a race. Maybe get some Monday. Maybe
Ooh.
Martin Truex, who's sneaking right behind all these favorites we talked about, gets a Monday race. So who knows what
Monday
happens?
Marty.
But
Mark
wintherace.info. Check
Yep.
it out.
Mark just went out and bet another top 10 after you said that. Go ahead, Phil.
Dude.
I just wanted to say next week I'm not going to be here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be
How dare
in
you.
Disney World with
Oh,
my
no.
family. So just
Oh, nice.
know that I'd much rather be on here with you fellas as
no.
opposed to, dealing with all of that bullshit. So, and I'm trying to speak softly now because I'm within an earshot of my wife. But yeah, just know that I'll rather be with you guys next Wednesday night.
I
So
love
good
it.
luck for Darlington because I won't be around.
We will think of you for sure. So I appreciate everybody listening here tonight. Anybody that's been new and checking us out, thank you so much. NASCAR Betting Preview Show every Wednesday, 8 p.m. on YouTube, on X. Find us on the podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Driven Sunglasses, promo code FS20, 20% off there. Custom patch hats. Get your hats, apparel, whatever you need. Victory Fuel and Atlas Hair NASCAR for 20% off there. So make sure you check us out next week. Enjoy Kansas. Hopefully it happens with no weather issues. And we'll see you back here next week. Maybe not with Phil, but we'll see you back for Darlington.